As an intuitive empath, one of the most important decisions we can make is to not place too much emphasis or importance on our personal relationships. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm talking about why it's so critical for us as intuitive empathic people to put our number one focus of our lives on serving humanity rather than serving our personal relationships. Why is that? So many people have argued the opposite throughout history. It's like I spent too much time at the office and not enough time in my personal relationships. And I would argue that those people who do spend too much time at the office, and end up divorcing, and they're also in the office fighting for a mission or fighting for a cause. It does happen sometimes that people really place their cause and their mission ahead of their families, and they do divorce for that reason. But it's very rare that divorce happens for that reason. What's actually more common is that we put our personal relationships as our number one priority as to what we're going to worship in life or what we're going to make important. And when we do that as intuitive empaths, we overwhelm the people who are in the personal relationships in our lives. And when we do that, we actually push them away and we actually ruin our relationships. In fact, I think one of the best ways to mess up your family relationships and your intimate relationships is to treat them like your best friend. When you put them in that role of best friend, that's how you ruin a lot of your personal relationships with your family or with your partner, because you just expect too much from them. You're worshiping them like a god and trying to get their approval, and it's just not going to work. They won't respect you because you haven't made something else in your life more important. And so we need to actually find a mission instead. We need to find our way to help humanity, and we need to find ways to contribute. And there's no right or wrong way to contribute. Some people will say this religion's the best or this diet is the best. And I have my preferences as to which groups of people and which diets I participate in. But having said that, I think you can really pick anything, and it doesn't have to be the same as what I've picked, as long as you're very dedicated and you know that whatever you've picked is to help grow humanity in some way. Maybe you're very focused on education and reinventing the university system all over the world because it's out of date. Or maybe you're really focused on helping people in poorer countries, or you're trying to save children from being recruited into sex organizations. Whatever your mission is, there's no right or wrong about it, but when you pick one and you make that the most important thing that you do with your life, what's going to happen is likely your friends and family are going to respect you for it. Rather than putting them first, you're putting humanity first and the greater good, and you're trying to serve that, and usually that actually wins over the respect of your family and friends. That's the thing that makes you attractive as a human being, more so than plastic surgery, fashion, makeup, or having hobbies that make you fit or popular or busy. Like, those things are good. There's nothing wrong with those things. But having said that, what makes you attractive as a human being is to have the greater good in your heart, and that you have that desire to serve the greater good in your own way with your own unique skills and talents. And we're all different. We're all these different types of flowers in the same garden, but we're all beautiful together and we're all needed. And if we find our unique way that we bloom, that we contribute to the world, for one person, it might be that they make perfect sushi and they serve people who are making really important decisions on behalf of their government. I know that sounds so simple, but being of service in that way could be very important, and you could be influencing somebody who is going to make a decision on behalf of the greater good and in a better mood on a full stomach, right? And for another person, it could be being vegetarian is the most important mission that they need to spread throughout the world. But one thing I want to caution you about is don't be so zealous like a religious leader to not acknowledge the other people who are doing something different in their own unique way to contribute to the world. Your way is not the only way to make the world a better place. So that's an important thing to emphasize. But one of the critical mistakes we make in our personal relationships, and this is particularly for intuitive, empathic people, not so much left-brain people, but it could be left-brain people, but it's usually us sensitive, intuitive, empathic people. What we make the most important altar of our life sometimes when we're not conscious and we're not aware is the perfect prince on a horse or the perfect woman. That's going to be the thing that saves us and makes our lives whole and complete and transforms our life into everything we've dreamed of. And the problem with placing that kind of expectation on a romantic partner is it's way too much. And that expectation, even if you don't say anything, can be felt by the partner and they'll run away, you know, like a wild animal running into a bush. They just won't want to be around them. Have you ever noticed that animals come closer to you when you're calm and you're not attached? Like when you're a child and you want to chase after animals because you find them fascinating, that's when they run the hardest and the fastest. But if you're calm and you're quiet and you sit still, they actually come to you. They come in closer. And it's the same with our personal relationships. When we're very calm and centered and we're focused on helping humanity in our own unique way, that's when actually our personal relationships begin to work better, usually, because people are not waiting for us to seek for their approval anymore. They understand that we've given approval to ourselves to fulfill our mission and to serve the greater good in society. And they actually respect you more for that, for figuring that out. And so our personal relationships work better in that way when we're coming from that place. And what's also great about that is when we make that most important thing in our lives is there's not really that much pressure to get married anymore. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting married if you choose to find a partner and your values align. That's fantastic. Go for it. But having said that, there are times when our partners change and evolve into a different person, and sometimes divorce is the right thing because we've evolved out of that relationship. And if we've put too much stock and too much of our identity into that relationship, what will happen is that our identity gets shattered and destroyed along with the divorce. We lose our confidence. We lose our ability to serve humanity. And that's not a good thing when we put too much of our identity into that one aspect of our lives. And we're all very guilty of doing this. The fairy tales have been perpetuated through so many generations and so many eons, and they may have served us better as humanity when we were in an earlier phase of our evolution, when we really needed to stay in marriages and we really needed to have stable households in order to promote financial stability for everybody involved in the home. But we're now a little bit more independent. We don't have to stay with our family. We don't have to stay with a romantic partner if we really don't want to. And that's not a bad thing. That's a very freeing choice. And that can be a very self-honoring choice that allows us to fulfill our mission and focus more on serving humanity rather than focus on serving our small household. And so when we die, I also believe that spirit is not going to talk to us about our family members or who we married so much as they're going to talk about our overall impact on humanity. Now, sometimes we can do small things in our household or in our relationships that really ripple out and make a big difference in the world. But if we're putting too much focus and too much effort on controlling things in the household, that's when we often lose control. We actually gain more control by letting go of it and working on serving the world rather than trying to control everything in the household. And so that's how letting go in our personal relationships actually really serves us. And letting go of this expectation like we have to get married to be happy is critically important too. It's not a requirement to be happy or have a fulfilling life or serve humanity to be married in any way, or to be living happily with your parents if you don't get along with your parents. I recommend trying to be civil with your family as much as you can because they can be really good people who end up becoming close to you later in life, even if they're not close to you in the present moment. So it's always a good thing to try to maintain that relationship if you can, but if it's too toxic, it's okay to let them go too. We live in a world where now really what's most important for us to focus on, all of us, in humanity, is to figure out how we can help the planet, how we can help humanity survive in its next phase of evolution. And if we put all of our effort and focus on that in whatever way that we can serve, that's going to create the beautiful future for us. That's going to create the beautiful relationships, and everything else will fall into place if we organize our lives around that. Not to mention, we actually become more physically attractive when we're focused on service, more so than plastic surgery or clothing or losing weight or busying yourself with fitness activities. Although there's nothing wrong with those things, you can do those things. But having said that, if you're relying on a lot of superficial factors to look attractive, what's actually more attractive to people is that you're trying to serve humanity in your own unique way. That's how you actually become a more attractive character, by not focusing so much on intimacy or what your relationships are like in your personal life.